In the time since Elon has bought Twitter, there's been no shortage of freakouts from everyone at every little change he's made. And so far as I'm concerned, I've noticed not even a tiny difference, except the stupid misuse of community notes to ruin literally every meme ever. But I think that's kind of minor. Remember, when Elon fired like 90% of the workforce, and the headlines were all, Twitter can't function without these workers, it's going to go down. And then Twitter functioned fine, since it's a website and not some exotic effigy to a long-forgotten heretical god that requires constant sacrifice. But there's a new thing for everyone to freak out about. This time, it's that Twitter, or X I guess it's called now, is going to remove the ability of people to block other accounts on the platform, which to me doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But to some people, this is like super scary and the end of the world. Today, we're going to talk about whether or not blocking should be allowed, what Twitter's actually doing, spoiler, they're not going to entirely do away with the block system, and the whole idea that it's against the terms of service of app stores to not have blocking built in, which, spoiler again, doesn't really matter. So firstly, what happened? How do we know they're going to get rid of blocking? And what does that even mean? Well, a little while ago, Elon Musk posted a tweet, or whatever they're called now that he's changed the platform's name, which said, block is going to be deleted as a feature, except for DMs. Interestingly, the dude who first founded Twitter, Dorsey, responded to the tweet with a 100 emoji and mute only, which freaked a lot of people out. Personally, I don't see why people need to block other people. I can understand that there are some people who feel safer because they've blocked someone who's being mean to them online, but in reality, I think that's just a really dumb way to look at things. All you're doing is making it so you can't hear opinions from people you disagree with, creating your own personal bubble where you never have to interact with someone that will disagree with you, which is a terrible thing for the development of a personality. In the real world, you can't block people. What are you gonna do when someone on the street comes up to you and says something you disagree with? Increasingly now, since people don't deal with differing opinions on a regular basis, people seem to have become prone to violence, attacking, yelling, basically acting like a toddler whenever someone says something that differs from their idea of the world. I mean, look at some of the responses on either side of the political aisle when it comes to all the woke stuff that's being pushed on people these days. This is all kind of new. When I was a kid, which really wasn't that long ago considering I'm only in my early 20s, I don't remember any of this happening. And it's so much worse with people younger than me. The 13 to 18 demographic right now, in my experience, literally can't handle conflict without shutting down. It's just sad. And I think it really does have a lot to do with the fact that a lot of the social interaction for these younger kids has always been primarily online, with the option to shut out differing opinions. Hey guys, editing MattyO here. Just jumping in to ask you to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out. Thanks. Back to the video. But while I think blocking is bad, the most convincing argument I've seen that it can be useful is in the case of online stalking, where people use the block feature to protect themselves and their posts from being seen by stalkers. Except on Twitter, that doesn't actually do anything. Blocking is, as implemented now, completely useless on Twitter, since all you have to do to see someone's posts is log out and then go to their page and you can see anything. Elon actually changed that for a few days when he was doing all that stupid stuff to cut down on bots, like the tweet limit. He made it so pages couldn't be seen by logged out users, but people got mad about it and they changed it back to the original behavior. Alternatively, someone can always just make a new account and follow you from it without you ever knowing. The internet was never meant to be super safe. If you're actually in danger, the safest thing to do is to just not use Twitter at all. If you're using it, then you should know the risks associated with it. It's as simple as that. No one needs to use the internet. You can just not. But anyway, Twitter's not getting rid of blocking altogether, like the original post from Elon or the alarmist news articles might have you believe. Rather, he's planning on removing blocking, but strengthening the mute feature to do pretty much what blocking did. In his follow-up tweets, Elon said, yes, the obvious move is to strengthen the mute function by making anything posted by the muted account invisible to you. Right now, both mute and block are partly broken. It should also be made easy to continue to follow an account while blocking their ability to DM you. And then, mute needs to apply properly, including all mentions. Block will only apply to DMs. Jack gets it. Surprisingly few others do. So let's get that straight. Mute, as it is right now, stops you from seeing someone's tweets. They're gonna make that work better by making everything they post invisible to you. I assume that means removing the "this post is from an account you muted" screen, so you can't even tell someone you've muted is saying anything to you. It will also be made to block them from sending you DMs. That's all basically what block does right now, except as written, it looks like muted people will still be able to see and interact with your tweets. You just won't be able to tell. It's pretty much just shadow banning on a personal scale. People will say that this is terrible because they can still see your tweets, except they already can, just by logging out or making a second account like I mentioned earlier. Basically, blocking is staying. They're just changing the name of it. There's a lot of things you can say about Elon, but no one can dispute that the guy is really good at confusing people. His tweets are a PR nightmare for Twitter that could be avoided pretty easily by thinking out what he's going to announce and how before announcing it. But hey, that's kind of the fun part. At the very least, it's entertaining. Lastly, let's talk about the elephants in the room, the app stores. Now people have, for some reasons, started seeing the app stores as the arbiters of justice who determine what should and shouldn't be allowed by independent companies on their apps, which is ridiculously dangerous and outright stupid. We should never have let the app stores get to where they are today. They're much too powerful, acting basically as a new layer of government for every company in the world that wants to put out an app, except they're dictatorial and unelected. Generally, I frown upon those things, and you should too, unless you're some kind of neo-fascist. It's true though, that both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Stores do have rules saying that people need to be able to block other users on social media apps, but that either doesn't matter or won't apply here. Since Elon is not actually removing the block feature and simply renaming it while maintaining the majority of its function, I can't see either Apple or Google actually caring at all, especially since Elon and Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, are good friends who meet up for dinner every so often. People said the same things when Elon removed the draconian speech rules that the original Twitter had in place, which essentially censored an entire political side. And did Twitter get removed from the app stores? Nope. Google generally doesn't care, and Elon had dinner with Tim Cook and then it was fine. The same thing would happen here if someone in Apple made us think about it. On another note, I'm certain that Elon probably would welcome the platforms to try and remove the app. For the Google Play Store, it doesn't matter one bit, since Android users can download apps from whatever source they want, not just from the App Store, which is how people played Fortnite on Android. Well, it was banned on the App Store. But for Apple, I think that Elon would love to have the opportunity to sue Apple for this kind of thing, to be able to make the argument that these app stores are stifling speech, which is an argument that I think the Supreme Court would be very receptive to. It might take a while, but I think that's a winnable argument that would screw over Apple big time. Though it would be easier if Elon moved Twitter to like Texas, or somewhere where the lower courts would be more receptive to his claims, and it wouldn't have to go all the way to the Supreme Court. But that's just my 2 cents. At the end of the day, you can't block people in real life. So should you be able to block them online? That's a question that has a lot more baggage and implications than people realize. Not just for your everyday life, but for your personal freedoms as well. Of course, my take is from the standpoint of a free speech absolutist. I generally don't think that anyone, whether that be the government, private companies, or even just angry people, should ever be able to stop you from saying anything you want to say, even if it's vile. The right to free speech is really an expansion of the right to free thought, which is what is the base that is responsible for all the freedoms we enjoy. If someone can stop you from speaking, what they're really wanting to do is to stop you from thinking whatever led you to speak. That's far more dangerous than anything anyone can ever say. I'm sure some of you will disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm not going to force you to think the same way I do. In fact, doing so would be very much contrary to my point. I will laugh at you if your argument is bad though, so feel free to fight it out in the comments. Do you think that Twitter should remove blocking? Do you think that blocking should ever be allowed? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day, and God bless you.